The following program may contain subject matter and language suitable for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
And welcome to a very exciting and very spatial episode of The Meltdown. My name is Norm.
My name is Jeff.
And today we're talking about the moon. At the time we're taping this, it is 2019, so it's still the year of the...
It's still a few months ago.
But we are celebrating...
the 50th anniversary of the first manned lunar landing.
Right, very good. So we're talking about the moon. And speaking of moons, I think the best way to start off this show would be to moon you people.
Oh, I wasn't ready for that one.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. As if I would do that, pull my pants down. I have actually pulled my pants down in a short film.
Wow.
I actually have.
I pulled my pants down backstage, but that's because I was changing my costume.
Oh, this was part of the script. And I did it without, I didn't care.
Oh.
I just didn't care.
I've never been naked on camera or on stage. However, I have been on stage with naked people. Well, one.
Well, you mean at the strip club, Jeff?
No,
I have been on stage with naked people.
No,
when you say that, it sounds like a strip club.
No,
I'm
I meant
sorry.
the legitimate stuff.
Yeah, legitimate. What is that? Okay. So
John
listen,
Patrick Shanley, all right?
we got a lot to get to in this episode. We've got some moon facts, plus we've got Lou Saracino, who's going to moon us on camera or talk to us about the moon. And then, of course, we've got some moon stupidness. What is that, you say? Well, watch and find out. And first, let's go to some Meltdown fun facts. All right, here we go. 9 interesting facts about the moon. You ready, Jeff?
Yes.
First, the dark side of the moon is a myth.
Yes.
In reality, both sides of the moon see the same amount of sunlight. However, only one face of the moon is ever seen from Earth. This is because the moon rotates around on its own axis in exactly the same time it takes to orbit the Earth, meaning the same side is always facing the Earth. The side facing away from Earth has only been seen by the human eye from spacecraft. There you go. Here's number 2. The rise and fall of the tides on Earth is caused by the moon. I think everybody knows that. Yeah. There are 2 bulges in the Earth due to the gravitational pull that the moon exerts. One on the side facing the moon and the other on the opposite side that faces away from the moon. The bulges move around the oceans as the Earth rotates, causing high and low tides around the globe. Now here's one I didn't know. Maybe you did. The moon is drifting away from Earth.
Yeah, I think I've read about that, but
okay.
I certainly can talk about it in detail. So
it's not a crazy amount, but it is moving away from Earth. The moon is moving approximately 3.8 centimeters away from our planet every year. It is estimated that it will continue to do so for about 50 billion years. By the time that happens, the moon will be taking around 47 days to orbit the Earth instead of the current 27.3 days. Interesting, eh? Boy, can't wait to see that happen.
I'll say.
Here's another fact. A person would weigh much less on the moon. The moon has much weaker gravity than Earth due to its smaller mass, so you would weigh about 1/6 or 16.5% of your weight on Earth. This is why the lunar astronauts could leap and bound so high in the air. The moon has only been walked on by 12 people, all American men. The first man to set foot on the moon in 1969 was Neil Armstrong on the Apollo 11 mission, while the last man to walk on the moon in 1972 was Gene Cernan on the Apollo 17 mission. Since then, the moon has only been visited by unmanned vehicles.
Which it had been before.
Right,
the first
exactly.
on the moon.
Exactly. Here's another fact. The moon has no atmosphere. This means that the surface of the moon is unprotected from cosmic rays, meteorites, and solar winds, and has huge temperature variations. The lack of atmosphere means no sound can be heard on the moon, and the sky always appears black.
And of course, the astronauts communicated with radio, which is why you can hear them.
That's right.
Yes.
Here's another great fact. The moon has quakes. These are caused by the gravitational pull of the Earth. Lunar astronauts used seismographs on their visits to the moon and found that small moonquakes occurred several kilometers beneath the surface, causing ruptures and cracks. Scientists think the moon has a molten core, just like Earth. Here's another fact. The first spacecraft to reach the moon was Luna 1 in 1959. This was a Soviet craft which was launched from the USSR. It passed within 5,995 kilometers of the surface of the moon before going into orbit around the sun. And it probably burned up then. Here's another fact. The moon is the 5th largest natural satellite in the solar system. At 3,475 kilometers in diameter, the moon is much smaller than the major moons of Jupiter and Saturn. Earth is about 80 times the volume of the moon, but both are about the same age. A prevailing theory is that the moon was once part of the Earth and was formed from a chunk that broke away due to a huge object colliding with Earth when it was relatively young. And here's our last fact about the moon. During the 1950s, the USA considered detonating a nuclear bomb on the moon. The secret project was during the height Cold War, known as a study of lunar research flights, or Project A119, and meant as a show of strength at a time they were lagging behind in the space race. And I could certainly see them wanting to do that or considering doing it, and I'm very thankful that they didn't do that. Because, you know, if for some reason, I don't know, if they could have done something to the moon that would cause it to behave differently than it does now, or throw it off its orbit or off its axis or whatever, it could have, you know, severe repercussions for us here on Earth. So I'm glad they didn't do that. And still not going to moon you, but we're going to do the next best thing, and we're going to bring you some moon comedy, some lunar guffaws with the one and only Lou Saracino, and a Meltdown Minute with Lou.
Hey everybody, this year is actually the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, which is an amazing thing, and I think what I am kind of boggled by, or flummoxed, is that there's still people who are claiming that it didn't happen. That kind of blows my mind. And it upsets me for a couple of reasons. One, because it really downplays the sacrifice and the courage and the bravery that the people who did this at the very beginning had to have. I mean, think about this. So this is what that meeting went like with the astronauts. They went, hey, we want to land you on the moon. And the astronauts went, sorry, what? And they went, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to build a box out of tin foil, and it's going to have less computational power than a watch that won't come out until a few years from now. And they went, yeah, that sounds pretty good. And then they went, then what we're going to do is we're going to take some giant-ass rockets, and we're going to time to your ass and launch you out of the atmosphere. And they went, yeah, I don't see any problem with this at all. And then they went, we're not sure we can get you back. And they went, yeah, still, like if you'd met my wife, maybe, he said. That's mean. It's very mean. My point is this. We landed on the fucking moon.
Thank you very much, Lou. And now for some Meltdown stupidness. I was just thinking maybe I should have said moopidness.
Yeah, you should have.
But
we
then
just did.
People would probably think I was an idiot, so I'm not going to say that. What we have for you today from the Fake It Till You Make It department are the top 6 moon conspiracy theories and why they are stupid. Now, we know some of these. Actually, we probably know all of them, but I'm surprised that some of these conspiracy theories people really actually believe. And I think you'll understand when I get to the one.
Yeah, and don't mention this to Buzz Aldrin because you'll punch you in the face.
That's right.
That,
yes.
I think actually happened, right? We talked about that.
Yep. Yeah, don't get punched by Buzz Aldrin.
No,
ever.
So to avoid that, just tell him that you knew that he and Neil Armstrong actually landed on the moon.
Yeah.
He'll be happy.
All right, here we go. The top 6 conspiracy theories about the moon.
Okay.
The Apollo moon landings were faked. About 5% of Americans think the moon landings were completely staged. They were not. These people cite various reasons for this belief, as Space.com has previously reported. Why there are no stars in the photos of the moonwalkers? Why is the U.S. flag fluttering? Why are there footprints but no prints from the lunar modules from the landers? There aren't any stars in the photo because daylight on the surface washes them out, just like it does on our planet. The U.S. flag is fluttering because it has a metal rod sewn into it to give it the appearance of moving in the wind. And there are footprints but no impressions from the modules because the weight of the lunar modules was more evenly distributed than the astronauts' weight was in their boots. And if we go to these pictures, Jeff, we can see an astronaut on the moon, which is very exciting.
Yes, it is.
And we can see him bouncing around.
Yeah, that is exciting.
Isn't that nice? And there's a footprint.
There's a footprint.
There's a footprint. Okay.
Nice.
So we'll go to this next one.
Yep.
You ready?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So you can look at the picture.
All right.
You can look at the picture
Right.
while I read this.
I got it. Got it.
Random things on the moon. This photograph, taken by the lunar orbiter in February of 1967, shows a mile-high piece of something rising from the surface of the moon. NASA conspiracy theorist Richard Hoagland says this should be called the shard and argued that no geological phenomenon can explain it, so it must be artificially made. It turned out later, however, that Hoagland had processed the image, such as by adjusting contrast and using smoothing filters, so that a spot of light in the image turned into the shard. Another photo taken during the Apollo 15 moonwalk in 1971 depicts a bright light above astronaut David Scott's head. This led some people to suggest that maybe it's evidence of alien activity, but experts say it's just a lens flare. The moon might turn green. A couple of years ago, rumor had it that the moon would turn green. After all, several of the planets aligned and caused an eerie glow, according to Space.com. This sickly shade was supposed to fall upon the moon on April 20 and May 29 of 2016, allegedly making it the first time the moon has gone green since 1596. Spoiler alert, it didn't.
You know the old expression, once in a green moon.
Yep, that is the expression.
Yes.
Now here's one. Here's a conspiracy theory. I thought this was just, an old wives' tale, but this is a real conspiracy theory.
Okay.
The moon is made of cheese. The moon is, unfortunately, not made up of cheese, a popular myth or story told to children. If it were made of cheese, that would mean there is a gigantic cow somewhere in the solar system, and in this cosmic game of Where's Waldo, we probably would have already detected the beast. But then again, space is random, and you never know what you'll find,
A moon made of cheese.
Yep. Here's another one. The moon makes us lunatics or insomniacs. A popular lunar myth holds that a full moon can affect our well-being. It can make us wilder, more likely to give birth, less likely to sleep, more likely to commit crimes.
More likely to give birth.
Yes. I know. I'm more likely to give birth during a full moon than any other time.
There's a full moon. Oh, I am pregnant.
Oh my God. I'm crowning.
Better get to the hospital.
Others claim that they just can't sleep on the night of a full moon. Though there are studies aimed at trying to find a link between a full moon and these activities, they've all come up short. For example, a 1985 literature review found that there was no link between the full moon and timing of mental illness, criminal behavior, or other such human activities.
How about werewolves?
And, well, there you go. Werewolves. That's, I'm surprised that wasn't in this article. And here we go. For the last bit of moon stupidness, conspiracy theory that just doesn't hold water, or moon dust.
No, moon dust.
The supermoon can cause disasters. A supermoon is when the full moon looks really big because it happens to be on its closest swing by our planet. Because it's closer, it does exert more gravitational pull on our planet than usual, which has led to some theorize that it causes natural disasters. But supermoons have no effect on disasters, such as earthquakes and tsunamis, according to a previous Live Science report. A lot of studies have been done on this kind of thing by USGS scientists and others. John Bellini, a geophysicist at the U.S. Geological Survey, previously told Live Science they haven't found anything significant at all. So there you go. Crazy. Of course, the top one, the big one, is that the moon landing never happened. Do you remember the movie Capricorn 1?
Yeah, I've never seen it, but I do know of what you speak.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting to watch how they staged a landing, and I think it was supposed to go to Mars in this film. Right. I think they were going to go to Mars, and they found out, oh my God, at the last minute, it's not going to work, but we can't disappoint everybody. Yeah. And so how they staged it, as a film was pretty interesting. And apparently, according to the theorists, right, with the moon landing that never happened, they say Stanley Kubrick had
I heard that.
something to do with it, that he was the one that directed the whole
Of course, he directed 2001: A Space
So
Odyssey
there you go.
right around that
so
time.
he would know. He would know the moon.
Yeah.
and computers that kill people. But that's a whole other thing. Next week, we're going to be leaving the moon, coming back to Earth, and we're looking at those crazy commoners. That's things or people that have things in common with things or people, right? Jeff's got a couple of great stories, and you're not going to want to miss the facts. Telling you, it's going to be really, really fascinating. All right? Fascinating. So until then, I am Norm.
And I am Jeff.
And this has been The Meltdown. Bye-bye.